everyone, and welcome to episode 145 of Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and we've got a great show in store for you today. Two amazing homes, one's in Wynwood North, and the other one is in Lake Highlands.
And in the second segment, we are going to talk about, we're going to do something fun today, and we're going to rate some of the reality TV shows.
So,
Is that redundant? That was redundant.
reality of the reality. Yeah, I think it'll be okay.
TV of the TV.
Stay tuned to hear what we have to say about those, because it'll all be interesting for sure.
It is definitely going to be interesting.
So it's been a good market. We've got a really interesting card here to show you guys about what's happening today and last week compared to the week before, and kind of same song, second verse. 2611 new listings versus 2741. 2741 was probably a little bit higher because you're still kind of tapering off of the following month, and so that's a normal number that we would expect to see.
Back on market, we had that grew by about 6% last week, from 588 to 630. The interesting one that stood out to me was the next line where it talked about the price decrease, and there were 14% of the houses last week that had price decreases.
Yep, and it's interesting, kind of going back on market, that 630, which is an increase. I think that you and I were talking a little bit earlier about why would something come back on the market, and I think we've got buyer's remorse, and I think there's also a point right now in the market when people realize that they are paying it some of the top dollars, and homes at that need to be in top dollar condition.
Yeah, and the under contract that went into the option period fell 10% last week from the week before. So I think, part of this is seasonal, I feel like.
Right.
Part of it is also, I think, what we're experiencing with some of our clients right now is just there's a little bit of buyer fatigue in having to work so hard and compete for property.
I agree with you 100% on that one. When we look over at the pending markets, not much of a change. There's been 3113 versus 2938, which is not terrible large bump, but still we're seeing, more of them that are moving into the pending number.
Yeah, and solds were up just a little bit, which, I guess for the middle of the month is a little bit different, but maybe they were just, closing over in the middle of August. So who knows? Coming soons were down just a smidge, down about 8% to 352.
So overall, it's a traditional market that we would see in the August timetable. Again, we'd love to see a few more homes coming on the market, given at the rate that they're being absorbed. There's some interesting news that was out on Twitter talking about kind of across the board when you look at the United States and break it into different segments, that the number of days on market pretty much has decreased, with the South, which we would be in, down by 22 days versus last year at the same time.
Interesting. Our one of the things I read this week that was really interesting is that the two housing markets with the highest number of home starts this year are both in the Texas market. One is the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and the other is the Houston area. Each one of those have had over 50,000 home starts this year. And the next one down is 35,000, and I think it was Vegas maybe, but they're really trying to build here, and that supply chain kink is really throwing things off quite a bit.
Lumber prices are no longer peaking, so that's really interesting. That should begin to soften some of it. It'll be interesting if that actually trickles down into the cost of new homes, but I think the absorption rate still is so high that we may see little to no effect on that. One of the other things that we've noticed in the market is the changing in what a listing agent and a seller are asking for when it comes to making an offer. Sometimes this makes it really easy, helps button up some of the paperwork a little tighter, which is great because it kind of makes it easier for sellers to execute contracts. But some of it was really telling in how these offers may be being put together. It is interesting. There are a lot of documents where they're asking people to fill out, and it's interesting because it doesn't actually have to partake or have to be legitimately part of the contract, but they're asking if you've terminated on a contract, if you're working with other buyer agents, and if you have multiple offers out on other properties, all trying to figure out who's the best candidate that'll make the best offer and get it to the closing table for them.
Yeah, some of these are really interesting to me because, when they probably reared their, I'm going to call it the ugly head because I don't like them, but they kind of reared their head a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, when listing agents began uploading these documents they call them offer instructions. And I have seen some, like there's one that is done by a really good friend of ours. She and her team put it up every time, and it is here's how we communicate. Here's the best way to reach us. Here is the seller, the seller's name to include on the contract. Here's how we'd like you to fill out the back page. And it's done in a very helpful manner.
Right.
But, some of these are like, the seller requires a waiver of appraisal document with their contract. You have to close at ABC Title Company, and many of these agents don't realize the position they're putting their seller in by trying to dictate that, because there's a Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act that there's questions whether a seller dictating that, unless they are paying all of the title expenses, and I mean every title expense, there potentially could be a violation there. And a lot of times when those violations happen, I don't want to be the test case. That is not the fun part of it. So
it is interesting, but sometimes I feel like you and I are in a situation where the company that we work for is so agent focused on making sure we're so educated and that this information is always brought to us. And I think that if you look at a large portion of the agents that work in the DFW area, they're not always part of these groups. And so as a smaller broker or just a flat fee, they don't always know what's going on. And so I think that sometimes these offer letters are speaking to agents, even new agents, that don't quite understand everything. I always think it's funny when they say page 9 of the contract must be filled out completely,
which is the page that has all of the realtor's information in it. We've received offers time and time again where the buyer's agent fills in their side of the contract and doesn't bother to fill anything in on the other side, which is just
But I almost
crazy.
would prefer for them not to know to do that, because I want to know who I'm dealing with up front, and if you're so lazy that you can't even fill in six more lines, I guess I'm knowing who I'm dealing with right away.
Well, we,
So
we do a certain amount of due diligence every time we get an offer on one of our properties, and I feel,
it is,
it's really interesting what we find sometimes. So,
or what we don't find.
or what we don't find. So
Well, let's jump into the first house that we've got. Which one is that,
we
Jeff?
have some really great homes to talk about today. Our first one is 8917 Fenchurch Road, and this is in Lake Highlands. And Lake Highlands is such an incredible community to live in. The high school, the Lake Highlands High School, is in the Richardson Independent School District and is one of the most sought after high schools to be in. This might as well be City Hall for the entire neighborhood because everything centers around it. Baseball games, just everything. One of the other things that I like so well about this neighborhood is it is really convenient to get to Richland College. And Richland College is one of the Dallas Community College colleges, and it is very inexpensive, especially if you have in-state tuition, meaning you've lived here in Dallas County for about 6 months. And I have to say, it's my alma mater.
Is it really?
Yeah, that was, when I came here in 1981, I had a job and I lived adjacent to Richland College. And the company that I worked for paid for all of my education as long as I got a C in the class. And so I'd get off work and I'd walk over and go to night classes, and I did that for several years.
Well, an interesting side note too about Richland College is that it has a really great ceramics department. So if you're really into that, that's a really great way to do some continuing education in the evenings or on the weekends as well. The great thing about this area too is Flagpole Hill is around the corner. And there's a lot you can do here if you're interested in doing, I think they do Camp Gladiator there in the mornings, and it's a really great place. Jeff and I actually, when the pandemic started, we actually were doing different video reels talking about certain areas, and we shot a lot of drone footage from here, and it's a really great place. Flagpole Hill is one of the highest places there is, and some of that drone footage was really interesting to see.
107-acre park, built in 1929. Corps of Engineers did the pavilion in 1930. This was the place to go for outdoor concerts.
Really?
Like I have friends older than me that have seen Tony Bennett perform.
What?
Yes, it was kind of like the Dos Equis Pavilion type
Really?
place. Yeah.
How
But it was all
funny.
free.
Oh.
So yeah, really great place.
And
So-
if it snows, you'll find kids galore on sleds and all sorts of slippery things going down this hill. It is amazing.
Super convenient location, very easy to access I-35, 635. If you've got to go into downtown, Skillman runs all the way from Lake Highlands directly into downtown. One last little place that I would like to talk about in the neighborhood is Vector Brewing. And I went to Vector Brewing about 3 or 4 weeks ago with my friends group, and we had such a great time. My beer profile is really very small. I only like wheat beers that are in this little bitty narrow window, but they had what I wanted. They have the food you see on the screen. It was such a great time. One of the things that really stood out to how they handled our group was we had a pretty large group of people, and we got there about 1 o'clock. No, we got there about 11, excuse me. And they were telling us, they were like, okay, y'all can all sit outside here, but at 1 o'clock we have a private group coming that's going to take over, and so y'all would not be able to stay past then. Well, we were still there at 1 o'clock, and they moved tables. This was mid-pandemic. They carried tables from outside, from inside outside, so that our group could stay there and be off in a little bit different part of the brewery. It was really just a great experience. I would highly recommend going back.
That is really good to know. That's tough, and it is tough on servers these days, so that's really great to know.
Yep. So let's take a look at the property. This is a really great one-story traditional home built in 1958. Has great drive-up appeal. They've done some really great job with the landscaping, using a lot of the landscaping blocks to go in.
So one of the things that we like to see when we come into houses like these are light and bright. We also like to see a neutral palette because I feel like so many times sellers feel like those are the colors and that are going to sell the house when it really is neutrals. And we have that really done well here. This is one of the houses that the windows, the plantation shutters are all in place, can lightings as well. So we get this nice even flow of light, and I didn't see anything that you really needed to do to the house. It is move-in ready.
It totally move-in ready. And it's one of those that if you do want to have a more open floor plan, this is certainly one that you can do that with. I love these built-ins. They really do provide good storage, good space for things without having to buy additional furniture.
And the way that they've incorporated the kitchen through this open kind of concept is really great. It's not 100% exposed. As you can see here, we have a little partition, the fireplace is on the other side. And then here you have a corner kitchen. And so it makes really good use of both the spacing between the stove and the sink. So it all kind of works super well. And it also gives you a lot more countertop space. Great lighting under the cabinets. And again, we're seeing that nice light and bright color palette brought in. That is one of the big draws for today's buyers.
And those are slow close drawers, slow close cabinetry. They use polished brass handles, which I think really look great on that. This is the den
This
area.
is the den area.
That was, I think, previously the garage, if I'm not mistaken, but they've done a fantastic job with it. We flow into the master bedroom. This is a really good sized bedroom. That is a king size bed. So you got plenty of room. I was going to point out something on the ceilings there that you only find in East Dallas. That's the little twirls.
The swirls.
We might get to see it somewhere else.
So the way that this is the master's on the front of the house, and then the other two bedrooms are going to be on the back side of the house. And these other two bedrooms are going to actually Jack and Jill. So one of the great things about this one is you can see you've got 3 windows. I'm always pointing out light. I need that light in the house to make it feel warm and homey. This has got plenty of light. They've done a really good job of spacing. As you can tell here, this room feels really big. Now we're going to move into the other bedroom. This is the Jack and that is connected by a Jack and Jill. But what's interesting about this one is that this one actually also opens up on the other side of those curtains right into the, I believe, kitchen or the breakfast area.
And bathrooms are finished out very nicely, as Weston said earlier, ready to move in. There is not anything you have to do. This does have an extra small half bath on it, which I thought was a perfect location. This may have been a coat closet, or maybe they took some room out of another room there, but it fits in absolutely perfect.
And that's one of the reasons why we say this is move-in ready, because there is no bathroom configuration that needs to be thought out. And as we go into the backyard, you'll see here they've got really great trees. They've dedicated enough of the space to work with the jungle gym. But as you see here, the grass is perfectly green. And if you wonder why, it's not been photoshopped. This is actually turf grass. So maintaining this house is also going to be a lot less to do weekly, but also financially.
And it's going to look good year round.
That is a great thing. Get the blower out, blow it, and you're done. As you can see here, they do have a little TV. Those double doors right there open into the den right there. At the back is the back of the house, and you have seating areas. So it is a really good indoor-outdoor home.
It really good. The home itself is kind of toward the end of a street, so you get really good privacy. The houses that are next door to it on the north don't really have a lot of direct access in. So 8917 Fenchurch Road is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car carport, built in 1958, a little over 2,500 square feet, priced at $635. And that is $253 a square foot.
Yep, and we want to say thank you so much to Lori and Hanson for allowing us to feature your home. It is amazing. In the comments below, you're going to see a link, and you can click on that link. It'll take you directly to information about the house, pictures, and it'll show you on the map. If you'd like to see this house or one that's in that area, don't hesitate to ask. You can get a hold of us either through this website, or you can actually text or call us directly.
We'll be happy to help you.
Yep.
So I feel like today is just a really, really great day because we're talking about houses in 2 of my favorite neighborhoods in the city.
It is. This is Wynwood North.
Yes.
And I think Wynwood North was one that I remember, I think I was showing Kevin and Emily on Manus as well when I first started in real estate, and I said, Jeff, do you know anything about Manus? And you're like, get in the car.
Get in the car.
I'm going to show you everything there is to know about this house. This neighborhood's amazing.
I've owned 3 homes in this house. I've owned 3 homes in this neighborhood, renovated them, sold them. It's just, I had I have several very good longtime friends that still live in the neighborhood.
One of the other things too, is I was showing this neighborhood to Emily and Kevin years ago. We were driving around, and I think that we pulled over, and I remember specifically that one of the neighbors came up and knocked on the window and asked who we were. And it is a very tight-knit group neighborhood. And they kind of self-patrol is the only other way I know. And this is really before all the apps like Neighbor, Next Door, and all that stuff. So I can't imagine. It is amazing. That neighborhood is so well taken care of. It is a gem out there.
It is. And this is 336 North Manus is the house. And let's talk about the neighborhood for just a minute. So this is a really cool little enclave of homes that were all built in the 1950s. The neighborhood was developed right at the end of World War II by Angus Wynn, which is where they got the Wynwood name from. And it's a modern development with efficient, well-designed, quality houses. It's all really self-contained because you've got, on the north, you have Dart Rail blocking you. On the east, you have Polk, Sylvan, Tyler, whatever street that is that you want to call it, where it runs through there. On the western side, you've got Zang Boulevard, and then on the south end of it, you have the Wynwood North Shopping Center. So it is so well defined that really, there's really not much of anything that, comes or goes that's not exactly like it. It's one of those neighborhoods that feels like it's almost got a neighborhood overlay on it, but doesn't.
That doesn't.
Just because nobody builds anything odd in that neighborhood.
And one of the things that we're seeing in this area is that there is a lot of things coming to this side of town. And so just like the Clyde Warren Park that is between uptown and downtown, we're seeing another over the highway park that will connect the zoo, I believe. And so it's a really great theme. If you go online, you can see that they've got some of their theming will be of actual animals. And so I think that they have like prehistoric mammoths that will be worked into the different jungle gyms, I believe. And then just from an actual lifestyle standpoint, LA Fitness has also moved in just around the corner. And so you're beginning to see how life is changing a lot over there. And, everyone is excited about that in this area.
Wynwood Village Shopping Center has gone through many kind of renovations over the years. And that's where the LA Fitness is now. There's a big Kroger in there. It's a 65-acre shopping center that is all open air, 61 stores, clothing, retail stores, just a little bit of everything. The last thing I wanted to tell you about is the zoo.
The zoo.
And the zoo is amazing. The zoo is a neighbor. The zoo is within a half a mile of your neighborhood. And the great thing about the Dallas Zoo is it is open 364 days a year. I think they are only closed on Christmas Day, and it's open from 9 to 5. It was founded in 1888. Our zoo has been around since 1888. They've got 2,000 animals, 400 species, 106 acres of land, 350 employees, and they use 750 volunteers per year to run the zoo.
750? That is a lot. It's a great zoo. We used to, at Area 17 in Uptown, they used to always come and speak once a year. It was just amazing. I think they really got out there and started pumping it up when they brought in the safari. And so it's magical. Wonderful time.
Really is. So let's jump into the house. So 336 North Manus. Wynwood North is one of those neighborhoods that's got really cool topography. And so in this section of the neighborhood, we're standing at the street level where this picture was taken. And so you kind of look up the hill toward these homes, and it gives them kind of a majestic feel. I love the front porches with the way they do these because you have kind of a sense of arrival when you get there.
It's a nice separation from the street. I love that separation from the street. When you come inside, you again see how they've renovated and really open it up to a family room there on the right-hand side of the picture, and a really easy dining room that has great views.
And the living room in this is recessed, what's the word, sunken. It's a sunken living room. And, those were kind of cachet in the day, and they've seemed to have lost their way now. This one works really well because it's one step down. And I think part of it is because of the topography of the land, they had to do that so that they could have the front of the house come in at one level and the back of it come in, back of it go out at that same level. Huge open rooms. You could tell the cove lighting in that living room is really pretty great. The kitchen opens up. Not sure when this kitchen was renovated. Those are all IKEA cabinetry. And I love the way it opens up into that living room because that is, I'm sure, not original, but certainly meshes with the times now.
And I like the way that these windows open up, and we couldn't see from when we were on the outside, but this opens up into a green space, and so there's no one that lives in front of you, which is really nice, and so it kind of makes really great use of these windows. Again, we're going to see a really simple kitchen that is done perfectly. It is a U-shaped, and everything is tucked in perfectly. Microwave, vent hood above the gas cooktop, and again, a window over the sink. The quartz is a quartz that I love and have used many times in renovations. And here we're going to transition into the master. Master bedroom is at the back of the house, and you can see there's a door that opens up to the backyard, and the backyard really is great in the way that it ascends. Symmetrical windows here also make it an easy way for you to place the bed and the nightstand, so everything kind of has a place and it looks like it's locked in, making it easy for you to understand how everything's going to be laid out.
Really nice master bath, dual sinks in the master bath, one large vanity, separate mirrors. There we are, sorry,
There you
a
are.
little delay. Double sinks, the polished stainless fixtures, and really a nicely done bath. Many of these homes in their original format were smaller, but this one's obviously gathered some space from somewhere and done the really great stand-up shower, but they've left both of the bedrooms with really great size.
Yep. And one of the things you're going to notice in this area is the foundations are really great because there's so much rock under here. And as you walk around, there's no creaks. I didn't see hardly any cracks, if any at all. And it's just one of those things where the house itself feels really sturdy. And so this is the bedroom here that actually you can look through that window right there and see that you're looking into the living room as well. Pitching over here, this is the hall bathroom, full size, and they've done a really great job with the countertop that's there on the sink, but then also added that cool splash of color there as a backsplash. Again, subway tiles go a mile. Here we're going to go downstairs. Most houses don't have a split level. This one comes downstairs, and Jeff and I both were amazed at how quiet it is down here.
Very quiet, very cool. I mean, I would bet that the temperature of that room doesn't change very much at all.
And it's a really great, easy way to come in from the carport in this way if it's raining. I just thought that it added an element to where you had guests or you needed a second study or just another living room.
And lots of outdoor space that has been so well done in this home. Again, they've used LED lighting to really provide just a little bit of formality in it. The space that they have to work with is wonderful. The pool is the perfect size for that. And as you can tell, this yard backs up to the top of a hill there, and they have the jungle gym way up on the top of the hill, but they also have this really cool seating area up there that we'll look at in just a minute.
So one of the things also that this pool has is that little stair down, the little step down right there on that wall on the left-hand side of the pool, that actually has fountains. So there's two little fountains that come out, which is really great. And then again, as Jeff was saying, this is a really nice, secluded little, they have it as a fire pit, but this is one of those places where you could really take it and make multi-level decking. You could extend it as far as you want because you can see here how it does shift. It is a really fun house. And again, this is one of those ones we were lucky enough to see that is, again, 100% move-in ready as well.
Totally. So if you've got interest in this home, would like to see more about it, certainly reach out to us. 336 North Manus Drive, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2-car carport, built in 1962, a little over 2,400 square feet, priced at $640,000 even, and that's about $266 a square foot. And we'd like to say thank you to Melissa O'Brien for letting us talk about her home. If you'd like to see any of the other pictures that we didn't get to, just click in the links below. We've also included links below to a lot of the area attractions that we talked about. And if there's any other properties in the neighborhood you'd like to see, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to make that happen. And with that, we'll be right back.
There are lots of ways to keep up with us. Visit and like our Facebook page to watch us live and get updates about future show topics. Also, visit our Instagram account where you can see the latest homes we have for sale. You can also check out our website at updikepugh.com where you can create customized searches of active and sold homes that you may find of interest. If you'd like to know how much your home is worth, visit homeprice.fyi and you can get a price instantly. Just enter your address and a couple of other pieces of information and we will email you a price. If you are on the go and podcasts are better for you, our second segments are available on iTunes and Spotify. Last of all, you can reach out to us by phone or text at 214-377-2223.
Hi, everybody. Sorry. Welcome back to episode 145, the second segment.
Well,
Today,
I think that was a great way to bring in the next subject because there's no editing on this show. We are live. It goes wrong, it goes wrong.
That's right. That's right.
Been wrong before.
That's right.
So what are we going to talk about in this second segment?
Today we thought we've been working on this series talking about historic home districts, neighborhood overlays. I wanted to do something fun today, and so one of the idea I came up with is let's talk about reality TV shows, reality real estate TV shows in particular, and give you our opinion of 3 of them.
And we're not going to get high drama on this.
Oh, no,
this is
not at all.
This is
This
just
is fun.
us kind of like taking a look, taking it with a grain of salt, seeing how it really does apply to the business that we live in, since this is what we do full time.
Yep.
And the first one that we're going to take a look at is $1 Million Listing New York. Oh, this one is brought to you by Bravo. It has a spinoff from that became LA $1 Million Properties. And I would say of the 3 that we're going to talk about, this one to me has more of the reality flavor to it. It's more like Keeping Up with the Kardashians or
True, yeah.
the Real Housewives scenario. I feel like it kind of goes that direction more.
Yeah.
And so I think it's interesting that you started us off with this one because you put it in a priority, and I think that we're going to go from like to a little more calm in the end. And so we're going to start off big.
So, in case you don't know, the $1 Million Listing has 9 seasons. They've actually won 2 Emmys, which blew me away. The premise of the show is this series chronicles professional and personal lives of realtors in the real estate industry based in New York as they market and sell high-end homes. And there are 3 main characters. Now, this is not a show I watch with regularity.
Really?
No, it's not. I watched 3 episodes, start to finish, just to make sure that what I was going to say was really my true feelings and what this was. There are the 3 main characters in it are Frederick Eklund. Frederick Eklund is the tall guy. Let's just call him the tall guy.
The tall European.
The tall European guy. Ryan Serhant, who I actually like really well. He is the guy on the right there. He's probably the most reasonable of all of them. And then Tyler Whitman, who is the gentleman in the middle. And he just started on the show 2019. He doesn't have a lot of real estate history. They're kind of showing him as the up and coming guy, and talking about the struggles he has. What do you like about this show?
What do I like about Sir Ben? You just jumped into the tough one. So I think that this is.
I had notes and you didn't. So
I have 1 or 2, but mine are kind of. So it's good background noise, I think.
Okay. That's positive.
And I think it's a reminder how not to act when it comes to real estate, because I feel like we get with our buyers and sellers, and this is typically like the toughest transaction that you're going to go through because it doesn't happen very often. And it's a lot of unknowns happening in a very, very short amount of time. And I feel like you and I go above and beyond to limit drama and to figure out how to maintain it and set realistic expectations, because when it goes off the rails, you cannot put it back on the rails very easily if you can.
Yes.
So I think that's a good reminder how to kind of keep it together.
Yep.
And I think that it was very interesting is that in reading like some of the online comments about it, they discuss a lot about editing, and we don't have that option to edit and put things the way we want them to like fit and look nice and smooth. And I think that, we've even seen that in some of the reality shows here that have happened years and years ago before which is the one
The
about the ladies-
Housewives.
Housewives,
Yeah.
is that
Do you remember the Dallas A-list? Anyway,
So-
please continue.
there was an episode where one of the reality stars of this unknown show here in Dallas was like at his house. And I was like, that is not his house. That is the model at the residence of the Highland. And so I think you really have to like take and realize that a lot of this is just for your entertainment.
Staged.
And it's staged.
I do a couple of things that I do like about it. One is I like the creativity that they come up
Yeah.
with many times. The creativity that they are forced to generate for these high-end listings is a lot of fun. And I have to say I've actually gotten a couple of at least general ideas of things that they've done. I love the energy that they put into it, especially Ryan Serhant. I'm probably saying his name wrong. Sorry, Ryan, but really like the energy and enthusiasm. He is. There are a lot of people that have gone forward with their real estate career and gotten into coaching and mentoring and team building, and he's one of the few that I think actually does that well. I think he's one of those that walks the walk and talks the talk.
Well, that's good to know.
My dislikes about it are the drama and the unrealistic on how negotiations go, because we're not standing there with a client and walk away with our phone and go, okay, they said 12 million, they'll take it. We don't. That's not how it works.
No, we just talked about you got to write an offer in these offer instruction packages now. No one's gonna. You can't just call someone and be like, I'm going to offer you 12 million. I'll take it. Dude. No.
So our next show is Love It or List It.
This is it. So I think this one has a very interesting concept. I think it's very unique, and I like the way that it takes a seller and creates a buyer out of them. I think that's a really interesting spin to do, because I think it's eye-opening, and especially right now, for a seller to realize what they can or can't buy with their money. Because I think it's such a different market today if we kind of apply it to Dallas. And I love the fact that I feel like they're both genuine professionals in their industry. Her name is
Hillary
Farr. I feel like Hillary does an amazing job listening to clients and then creates what they're looking for and even goes beyond. I feel like they always have to have drama. You've always got to have people like pay attention and kind of hook them. But I feel like there's always going to be issues in a renovation project, and I feel like that's where they always kind of like blow it up. And I feel like there's a little bit of a recipe at that point. But it is legit. There are always bumps in a renovation project. Always.
If you've never seen it before, the premise of the show is David is the listing agent. Hillary is an interior designer. They meet up with a seller who is unhappy with their current home. And Hillary's job is to try to convert their home through renovation, restaging, redecorating, whatever, to something they want. David's job is to go out and find them a new home that meets what they're looking for. And then once both of those are accomplished, they come back together and the homeowner gets to sort of decide if they're going to love it with their current home or list it with their current home.
So if I loved my neighborhood and they did exactly what I wanted, I would not leave, period. If I was like over the location or I needed a different element in my life, I think that I would be like, yeah, I'll fix it up and let's make it and sell it and make all that money. Because, that's what the rest of the reality shows are about.
It is.
Like fixing it up to sell it. And you're like, oh. But I think this is a very interesting concept.
It is.
And I do enjoy this one.
Our next TV show is called Hometown. And this is a story about a couple.
Love story.
A love story based in Mississippi. Aaron and Ben Napier, who basically are hired by people to come in and renovate their home, restage it, refurnish it, do whatever they've got to do to make that home for them again.
And so I love it. This is one of those shows that I probably could watch and pick up on it. So the element to me that I find really interesting is that they will do research into who you are as a person and who the house was, and they'll figure out ways to bring those into their transformation. And by doing this, they use local artisans to create elements that are one of a kind and really incorporate who you are and who that house was. And I find that they do it amazingly. And I love the fact that Ben also, I think, has to have a really strong woodworking background, and he'll work with his brother to like create one-of-a-kind balustrades for the home that are made out of the old fence posts that were on the property that the original settler put on it. I mean, there's just elements to it that you really can't incorporate unless you actually have a skill set. And I think that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Are these elements that they have that add that reality, but integrity and honesty to the show.
Yeah, and one of the things I like about it is it's always helping people.
Yeah.
That is what they're trying to do, is always help people. There's not a like the $1 million listing, there's the motivation. They always show you what the potential commission is on that transaction,
Which is weird.
which is weird. But in this show, I feel like they truly are trying to help people change their life, better their life, improve their life.
And I would say the other thing, no matter what you think about the South, they show a huge, diverse group of people that they help, which is really amazing, because some of the other shows you're more affluent, you know, or in the other show it's always going to be a family because it has more elements to it that could relate. Whereas this, I feel like it's a spectrum. It can be a single mom, it can be two guys, it can be a retiring couple. I just feel like they really reach out there and are trying to appeal to a really broad base of America, which is a really great aspect, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Well, that was a lot I had to say about that.
There was a lot you had to say about that. When's Ben coming?
Huh?
When's Ben coming? Anyway.
Ben, if you're in town, you should call us. We'll be happy to take you out to dinner, you know, whatever. So,
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this today. We just wanted to have a little bit more fun than we usually do in our second segment. Please join us again next week and come and have lunch with us.
yep. And remember, we want to be realtors for life.